When was the last time someone looked in your eye, not to ask you for something or to remind you about a bill, not to expect something from you, but to ask you, brother, how are you doing? How are you actually doing? If you're a man listening to this today, chances are that it has been a while. Welcome to the Spotlight, my guys. My name is Eddie the Talk Smith, and we need to have a conversation that is long overdue, or is a conversation that is being overlooked or just not really talked about. Let me put it that way. I call it the provider trap. Yes, that's what I call it, the provider trap. Now, we live in a culture that teaches a man from the time that we are boys that our worth is directly tied to wealth, and your value is your wallet or what you bring to the table. If you can provide, you're a man. If you cannot provide, then you're struggling, you're invisible. And this, a lot of guys can relate to this. And let's face it, with the macroeconomic pressure on everyone, with the reality we face in our country right now, the question is breaking the men. We are actually just getting it hard. It's crushing our mental health. It's straining our faith and keeping us trapped in this cycle of silent survival. Now, today we are pulling back the curtain of that silence. Today we are having that conversation. If you've been carrying the heavy weights thinking that you're falling because things are hard right now, brother, this is for you. This conversation, this podcast right now is for you. Now, a few weeks ago, we celebrated Father's Day. I had two incredible fathers in the studio, and we talked about the roles of fatherhood, the roles of a man in the home or in life generally. And after the studio session, I met a friend of mine, a father of two, who told me something that was actually, I had to sit down and think really hard. And he was like, Eddie, sometimes I feel like I'm a walking ATM. And this is no offense to his family or to his wife. Of course, he has to provide, but sometimes he feels like he's a cash dispenser, He has to dispense cash for everyone to smile in the family. When he cannot do that, or when he tries to be selfish a little, or something happens, life happens, everybody's frowning because he cannot provide that thing. Now, that is the essence of the provider trap. That is the essence of this conversation, because it's like a systematic script or a culture that we have inherited that reduces the man's entire existence into financial utility. And we've turned provisions into transactional issues instead of a relationship. So, my friend, how are you doing, bro? When last did someone ask you that question? How are you doing? Because look at what happens when the economy gets tough. In Nigeria today, bills are rising, inflations are going high, things are getting harder, and the math is not just adding up. And when a man cannot meet a single financial demand today, in our community of today, the first thing that hits isn't just his bank account, it is his identity that is attacked. That is not a man. That man cannot provide for his home. Why are you getting married if you cannot provide? Like, there's so much that is tied to the pocket of a man. But inside, and when we do this thing, before we even, when this whole thing starts coming about, what the society thinks about the man, the pressure on the man, on everything, the truth is that we start to withdraw. The men start withdrawing. The men stop talking, because society has put it that a man who complains is seen as a weak man. And a lot of people can relate to that. We start working longer hours. You start going to where, like, stressing yourself more. You start doing what you're not supposed to do, just collecting loans that you can't pay back, just to maintain an illusion that everything is fine. And I ask you again, bro, how are you doing? The engine is overheating for a lot of people. The mental health crisis among men is incredibly rising, precisely because we have tied our peace of mind to a variable to something that we cannot completely control, the economy. But here's the thing. Here's a flip to this whole script. If you look at faith, if you anchor this thing on faith, provision was never meant to be a solo performance for the man. A lot of people may argue that God is seen as the provider, as the ultimate provider. But somewhere along the line, we as men have taken the God title of being Lord the provider. Society have made us become God, like the providers, the ultimate providers of society. And no wonder we are exhausted. No wonder we are very exhausted, because we are trying to play a role that is not designed for us to handle alone. True fatherhood, true manhood is not something that has to do with just paying school fees and paying bills. I've had this conversation before with a very good friend of mine. Yes, provision is very important. Provision, providing for your family and your home matters. It is important. But your family needs your presence. Your family needs more than a financial portfolio. The children need a father. The wife needs a husband. The mother needs a son. The sibling, the younger brother, needs a brother, a big brother, and not just a financial provider. So if you're busy chasing the next naira that you can't even find, that is making you emotionally absent, irritable, anxious, and spiritually drained at home, you are actually trying to play the God role of the ultimate provider. And friends, you are funding a household while you are abandoning your home and your other roles in the home. So brother, how are you doing? Your children may not remember at some point the expensive shoes that you bought for them. They may not remember those fancy things along the way, if that's what you think it's all about. But there will be memories. How much time did you spend with them? The video games you got them, did you sit down and play with them? The expensive school you sent them, did you find time to do the homework with them? Did you go for visiting days? Did you go for graduations? These things are very important. But before I round up, let me read something to you. This is a very interesting piece I saw. And it says, to every man, and I say this to every man listening to this podcast right now, I want you to take a deep breath. Drop your shoulders. You don't have to carry the weight of the whole world on your own. If things are tight, give yourself some grace. Talk to someone. Don't let isolation, don't let pressure tell you that you are alone in this fight. Let us learn to break the silence. To the women, to the sisters, to the mothers, check on the men in your life this week. Don't just allow this breeze through, but ask them, how is your soul doing? Validate their efforts and not just their outputs. Let's change the narrative. Let's dismantle the trap. Let's change that narrative, that provider trap. Let's dismantle it. This conversation is for the men today. And I ask you again, bro, how are you actually doing? I am Eddie the Talksmith, and this has been the conversation today on the Spotlight Mic. Till next time, stay blessed, stay safe, stay healthy, and again, look after yourself. Peace out.